Hi, I'm Terri McCarthy. I'm at the Cool Tools studio today, and I will show you how to measure, make, and stretch fancy bezel wire for your cabochons. I like to work with these fancy bezels. I think they add a lot of interest to a piece, especially if it's a dark stone. It really offsets the stone and it sets off the bezel. But the pattern in a textured bezel doesn't always line up like it does if you just have a plain bezel. So there's a little technique, a little bench trick that I use. I'll take my fancy bezel and I'll wrap it around my cabochon the way you normally do, and I will wrap it tight against itself, and then I will mark with my Sharpie marker where the inside edge of the bezel meets the outside edge of the bezel. So if I look at where the mark is and I look at what I've cut on the other side, I can tell that I need this much room to have a good meet for my bezel length. But if I solder that together at that point, it's not going to be very interesting when it comes to the design of the fancy bezel. So what I purposely do is end up cutting this bezel too short, knowing that after it's soldered together, I can stretch it. So I'm going to cut down in between the little ball of this design. I have cut down in the ball on the other side. Oops, sorry. And now I can line them up so that you have a pattern that meets. So anyway, I'm going to line it up, and as you can tell, my bezel is going to be too short in matching that pattern. What I'm going to do is go ahead, line my bezel up, and I will go ahead and solder it shut. I've soldered the bezel shut. It's been in the pickle. It has been cleaned up in brass brush, so I'm now ready to refit my stone. So when I drop my stone in, you can tell that it's a tight fit. If I force the issue, I will crack this bezel at some point because the bezel has a lot of relieved areas and it's very thin. So I'm going to pop my stone out carefully. To stretch this bezel, I'm going to take this is a copper rod, it can be a steel rod, it can be a punch, and I'm going to use it like a rolling pin. So with even pressure on both sides of my bezel, I'm going to push down on my countertop and I'm going to roll to stretch that bezel. So now you're ready for the next step of soldering this bezel to the back plate.
Visit our Learning Center at cooltools.us for more cool jewelry making videos. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and be sure to sign up for our email list to be the first to hear about new videos, new products, and other cool stuff from Cool Tools.